After I was reborn, my 3 sisters could hear me. Do you want to tell the eldest sister? The male protagonist she cares for in every way. In the end, he will design to take away all of her possessions. I saw the eldest sister take the hand of the male protagonist. Suddenly there was a shaking. Or don't tell the second sister. Her eyes will be deliberately blinded by the male protagonist. I saw that the second sister looked like a needle pricking her ass. Bounced off the male protagonist's legs. If the third sister knew that he would become a vegetative person in his later life. And it's the male protagonist looking for someone to hit him. Wouldn't it be sad? I saw the third sister feeding the male protagonist. Suddenly, he put the food on his head. It's so contradictory, do you want to tell them? In fact, the male protagonist deliberately redeemed them. Is to bring down the Shing family. Cry for the woman he loves. The male protagonist is the new housekeeper of my family. He comes with his heartthrob system. Accidentally redeemed my 3 villain sisters. Coaxed them into 3 vicious dogs beside him. Hold all the resources in front of him. In my last life, I protected my 3 sisters. Thwarting his plans at every turn. In exchange, my 3 sisters were disgusted with me. The eldest sister is a cold-faced president. He froze all my cards. Kicked me out of the Shing family. The second sister is a gentle doctor. He quietly changed my medicine. It pained me all day. The third sister is a popular star. He chose to hide my identity. Conniving at fans to abuse me online. The last time I saw the 4 of them. It's in a rundown rental house. I'm in a wheelchair. Wear oil-stained clothing. Willow heart. But he wore a haute couture suit that he couldn't afford to wear before. I was surrounded by my 3 older sisters in the center. Squinting eyes drowning me. For the sake of us being our best friends. Today you apologize to me. Call me brother-in-law. I'll forgive you. Take you back to the Holy Family. How to call him brother-in-law, he is also worthy. He was the one who disfigured me and crippled me. Shameless. The purpose of entering the Holy Family. It's just to bring down the Holy Family. It's just a pity that no one believed what I said. Everyone thought it was me who was jealous of the meteor. Also let himself end up with such an ending. I gritted my teeth. Urged him hard. You deserve to be called brother-in-law. It's better to kill me. Someday. Your ugly face will be exposed. I'm not done yet. Was slapped in the face. The power is huge. It made my teeth show signs of loosening. There was a roar in my ears. I struggled to open my eyes to see. Saw the eldest sister's indifferent look. He frowned. It's like seeing something. It's the same thing that makes him sick. Shing Jihan, you still can't control your mouth. I don't mind tearing him up for you. I covered my face. Grit your teeth. Sister, he interrupted me again. Don't call me sister. From the day you framed Da Xing. You are no longer our brother. These words are like a sharp knife. Stuck in my bloody heart. The light in his eyes gradually dimmed. I want to say something. Opened his mouth. But his throat was dry and he couldn't speak. My heart started to hurt again. I clutched my heart. Gasping for breath. Medicines. The second sister rarely smokes anymore. Now because of Lu Xian, he is addicted to cigarettes again. She took 2 steps closer to me. Put the cigarette butts that have not burned out. Pressed the back of my hand. Ignoring my hoarse weeping. Pointing at my heart, he mocked Shing Jihan. Your congenital heart disease. It may be because your heart is too dark. That's why I understand. I don't think there's a need for a cure. I was in pain and fell out of my wheelchair. Almost suffocating. The third sister slowly squatted down. Look at me almost skinny. Frowned. What kind of grievances are you pretending? Shing Jihan. You really think that you can get our forgiveness by pretending to be miserable? I'm telling you. You're thinking too much. And it looks like you didn't. To teach him the words are meaningful. I know what he means. Just because I scolded Lu Xing for the third sister. He indulged his fans to insult me. There were even people who followed me. Pushed me out of my wheelchair. Look at me crawling on the ground. They often throw dead rats at the door of the room. The landlord couldn't stand it. Kicked me out. I'm just right next to the dump. Rented such a rotten house that couldn't even lock the door. There is no drug support. Soon even breathing for me. It's all very difficult. I'm like a frozen fish. Collapsed to the ground with wounds all over his body. Consciousness gradually blurred. I tried to recall. It's not a painful thing in your life. But I can't think of anything. My sisters ignored my hand for help. Turned around and left. Only one sentence was left behind for my parents. I opened my mouth. In the end, he was no longer able to struggle. This is my second life of rebirth. In thinking about it. Every step of the way. In the end, it is still no match for the aura of the chosen male protagonist. This world is a koi novel. Lu-Xin is the male protagonist. In order to bring down the Holy Family. To the woman he loves. My 3 older sisters are villains. But it will be love at first sight for the male protagonist Lu-Xin. And then redeemed by him. Give up everything. Volunteer to be a dog by his side. Send all the resources to him. Even in order to be able to block deep when Lu-Xin was kidnapped. My 3 older sisters. One became a cripple. A citizen. One has since become a vegetative person. To save their fate. I desperately debunked Lu Xin's true purpose. But in their eyes it is jealousy. Lu-Xin took away my favor. I ended up from the Shing family. Became a disfigured cripple that everyone hated. Reviled at him. And no matter how many times you are born again. Lu-Xin will wander between my 3 older sisters. Success has replaced me as the most important thing in their hearts. The position I know when I open my eyes. Everything will go back to the beginning. But this time. I was tired when I opened my eyes. I'm still a little scared. A dilapidated and dirty board house. It turns into a bright and welcoming living room. Warm yellow light. Shine on the delicate food in front of you. A familiar voice sounded beside me. A little aggrieved asked Jihan. Why don't you eat it? Did I do it to your liking? Sorry, I didn't know you didn't like to eat this. What you want to eat? I'll make it for you. My pupils locked. It's the sound of a shooting star. By this time, he had become friends with me. He also saved his 3 sisters several times. Right now. There is already a faint rumor that he has a reputation as a Holy Family koi. He didn't wear any of his clothes. Instead, he was wearing the big name clothes I gave him. The traffic policeman looks like a little bit more like the Shing family than me. At this moment, his face was full of grievances. A big man had to bite his lower lip to speak. I specifically asked Lin Yi to find out. He said you like seafood the most. I don't eat it now because I made it. Feel relieved. I learned to do it step by step with Aunt Lin. That's it. But I never answered. Lu-Xin began to hurry. Why did you ignore me after that? You. Do you dislike that I came out of the slums? I hate me for being dirty. I opened my mouth. But all they can do is make senseless syllables. Raise your hand and pinch your throat. Trying to force yourself to say something. I'm afraid of making Lu-Xin unhappy. Those 3 sisters who loved him dearly. And they will use this as an excuse to abuse me. But I couldn't get a complete sentence out of the picture. The eldest sister's gaze fell between me and Lu-Xin. I looked at the deep color of his eyes. Is this what you are being taught as a member of the Holy Family? No matter how you say this, it is a piece of Zin's heart. You don't want to eat it. Gotta eat me, too. Lower your eyes. I couldn't stop sneering in my heart. These 3 people have long been full of Lu Xing. How dare I dislike you? Anyway, after that, you will be another master of the Xing family. I was kicked out of the Xing family. Cripples living in slums. Who has the right to dislike you? I don't know, I think Lu Xing is your own brother. It's worth your defense of him. I forgot that it wasn't my own brother. It's a love brother. Does anyone else remember my seafood allergy? My life is not my life. I don't know why. There was a sudden silence at the dinner table. 3 women who just looked smiling. Suddenly his face turned cold. Stop talking. Seafood that is so greasy that it makes you sick. I devoured it bite by bite. I resisted the urge to vomit. Smiled at Lu-Xin. The eldest sister's face was originally dark. It's like someone has poked a hidden mind. This time, I quickly finished eating the seafood. Her face was pale and she was about to leave. He hurriedly stretched out his hand to me. Second sister Xiaoheng glared at her. Motioned for her to shut up. Turning to me, I said softly, Xiaoheng. Are you uncomfortable somewhere today? The second sister will show you if it's okay. She's a doctor. In my previous life, she prescribed me the medicine for heart disease. Of course, she stopped me in the end. She watched me suffer from my illness. I've long forgotten that I used to be her favorite. I stood on the stairs and turned back. The look is hidden in the shadows. No one can see clearly. Just one allergy. I can't die. I'm really tired. Stop torturing me. I'll do whatever I want. The second sister was stunned. Her face was pale. Apologize to me. I didn't mean to forget that you have a seafood allergy. Not deliberately forgetting. The excuse is clumsy and funny. I'm too lazy to be hypocritical to them anymore. Turned around and left without hesitation. As long as Lu Xian appears. I knew it. No matter how you do it. I was not favored that day. So I just left the door shut. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Pull me back from the chaos of my thoughts. Lu Xian came again with grievances. There was a cry in his voice. Knocking on the door. It's like I don't open. He's going to keep knocking it out. Corpse Cross, what's wrong with you? Did I make you unhappy? I apologize to you. Don't ignore me, okay? Aren't we good friends? What he said was extremely aggrieved. But I heard. Another voice rang in my ears at the same time. The voice is still Lu Xin's voice. But what he said was the exact opposite of what came out of his mouth. The system is even rampaged with something crazy. He's been doing those moves lately. It's not written in the plot. Engage in half a day. Those female partners thought I was bullying her. I've been given a good 10 points. This was followed by another mechanical voice. Please rest assured that the host. I've looked into it. Now they still have a good opinion of you above 50. The favorability of the tune is also within the controllable range. I felt like I was in an ice cave. A chill crept up the back of the neck down the spine. Obviously in a warm room. I couldn't help but shiver. Those voices again. In his previous life, he was designed by Lu Xian. Let me be in a car accident for a short period of time. I can often hear Lu Xian in my ears. Communicate with the mechanical sound. I heard them say they were going to bring down the Xing family. Turn the Xing family into a stepping stone for him. After sobering up, I immediately went to my eldest sister. I wanted to tell him about it. But I don't say anything. Can only get the disgusting side of the eldest sister. Lu Xian walked out of the lounge of the eldest sister's study. A look like a male green tea. Sister Zhenshin may just not be able to think about it for a while. That's why I did these foolish things. It's okay. I forgive him. The eldest sister's face was under Lu Xin's compromise. It's getting ugly. He whispered to me. Xing Jihan, how did you become like this? The design of the car accident framed Xian failed. I want to slander him in front of me. He still took care of you while you were unconscious. Let me not blame you. I don't remember much about the rest. Just remember from that moment. I was truly disgusted by the Xing family. The small suitcase contained only a few simple clothes. It was still raining heavily. The eldest sister's face has not changed by half a point. Reached out and shoved me out. He looked condescendingly at me, covered in mud and dirt. Xing Jihan, since you can't tolerate Xing. From now on, the Xing family will no longer recognize you as a young master. Lost the identity of the Xing family. What do you think you can be? Recall these. I was shaking. What kind of drama is he going to do now? I know without guessing. At this time, Lu Xing must be more than alone outside the door. I don't know if he did it. It's to brush up on whose favorability. Forget it, it doesn't matter who brushes it. It has nothing to do with me. Anyway, in leaving the Xing family, I knew I couldn't avoid it. Take a deep breath. Walked over and opened the door. Lu Xing's hand knocking on the door stopped in midair. He didn't dare to fight either. Reach out and want to hold me. But I dodged sideways. Jihan, he spoke to me in a long voice. His eyes kept looking at the third sister standing behind him. Can you tell me something? Don't ignore me, okay? In his previous life, he only had 3 sisters there. It can be nicer to me. I just installed it for so long. I'm afraid it's also pretending to be for the third sister. The third sister was silent for a long time. Finally spoke. But he was fighting for Lu Xian. He looked at me inquiringly. His eyes were full of deep worry. The third sister of Jihan. I've heard from the eldest sister and the second sister in the past few days. Is there any misunderstanding between you and Qing? Didn't you guys be very good friends before? You don't know. Because you ignored him all this time. How many times he cried behind his back. He sighed. It's all for my good. It seems that the third sister knows a very famous psychiatrist. If you have any questions, I don't want to tell the eldest sister and the second sister. Just tell the third sister. Okay, the third sister will take you to see it tomorrow to see if it's okay. I didn't speak. I just complained in my heart. This is nothing understood. You're going to see a psychiatrist. It is also in your hearts. As long as you don't like Lu Xian, you have a psychological problem. Isn't it? When you connived at your fans to abuse me online. Why didn't I see you worrying about something wrong with me? Do you want to surprise Lu Xian again? Just put me in a psychiatric hospital. The third sister was stunned. The look on his face gradually distorted. He looked at Lu Xian. Look at me. Finally, he looked down at his hands in disbelief. Jiheng hesitated to speak. Did the third sister do anything wrong? Don't hate the third sister, okay? My face was full of wariness. Shaking his head, he quickly closed the door again. After the door is closed. Instead, I heard a bang. Immediately afterwards, Lu Xing was crying bitterly. Sister Lingling. The system screamed. Alert you to the favor of the Holy Spirit -10. At present, the goodwill has fallen below 50. Please find a way for the host as soon as possible. Rebrush up the favorability. Don't call me that. The third sister's voice sounded a little gloomy. I'm on top of those two silly sisters. Fooled by you. I have not yet. You'd better give me an explanation. Otherwise I don't mind. I can't hear the rest clearly. I think the two have already gone away. I don't understand the inexplicable transformation of the third sister. I don't want to care about any of that. See. They have maintained Lu Xing to this extent now. The aftermath of the past life on the road. It's just a matter of time. No matter what Lu Xing still wants to do to the Xing family. It has nothing to do with me. For me. There's nothing more important than being alive. I almost don't go back to the Xing family. Correspondingly, Lu Xing appeared in the Xing family. There are more and more opportunities. The Xing family was afraid of causing me trouble. I hid my identity from the outside world. The outside world only knows that the Xing family is not in good health. A teenager who has been pampered since childhood. But I don't know who it is. Now Lu Xing has almost secured this name. He also did not argue with the public. Someone asked. He pursed his lips and smiled, but did not speak. This falls in the eyes of others. This is his default that he is the eldest of the Xing family. My roommate, He Jun, glanced at me. Laughed sarcastically at Xing Jiheng. Why didn't you go with Xian recently? It was just the beginning of the school year. Didn't you all go to school in the Xing family's car? Why did you break up with Xian? He won't even let you sit in the Xing family's car. I glanced at him. Keep your head down and tidy up your homework. Ignored him. It was as if he had been stepped on and his feet hurt. Throw it away. Wave flat your phone because of the death of the game character. Sharply said, Xing is not willing to take care of you. You Pan Xingjia didn't succeed. What else to do? Beside him. Lu Xin's face was a little ugly. Reach out and tug at his shoulder. He Jun whispered. It's very annoying. Isn't it something I'm known for? I can't force anything. He Jun also reunited. I just can't get used to seeing him look tall. Obviously, I didn't try my best to have a relationship with you before. Now what kind of kohlrabi is loaded? He lowered his eyes. I don't know what I'm thinking. Look at me after a moment. Viciously, I want to see it. How long can you load? The two of them finished their cruel words at me and left. Before closing the dormitory door. Lu Xian glanced back at me. Those eyes were full of calculation. I heard him ask the system again. Who's got the most opinion right now? The system has reached the highest level so far is the eldest sister. Holy shrine, you need to hurry. 60 is still too low. You'll have to get his opinion to 80 within a week. Otherwise, you won't be able to predict what's going on. The plot is up. I remember the later plot was the eldest sister who went to sign the contract. But he was stranded at sea. It was Lu Xing who saved him. The two also have a certain emotional foundation because of this. Forget that, what does it have to do with me? I packed my things and planned to go to the library. But on the way, I received different eyes. Someone pointed at me. Isn't that what the forum said was him? Yes, Xing Jiheng. In order to climb the giants, unscrupulous means. I heard that he was because Pan Xingjia and those were unsuccessful. I had a falling out with Lu Xian. Ah, he's disgusting. I saw that he had such a good relationship with Lu Xian before. No wonder I don't even say a word when I see him on the road now. If your friend goes to soak your sister, can you still talk to him? It's also that this victory is really shameless. Good people don't wait. You have to be a little white face who eats soft rice. I hung my head. I thought I didn't hear it. But by a clear voice interrupted the action of leaving. Lu Xian didn't know why. Appeared near the library again. He came over and grabbed my hand and wouldn't let me go. Jihan, don't listen to their nonsense. These are all misunderstandings. They don't believe you. I believe you. That's what he said. But it only tossed and turned. Some of his subjective emotions were expressed. I never came up with any evidence to prove my innocence. Others will only say that he is kind. But I don't mean I really haven't done any of these things. A good trick for a thief to catch a thief. My silence was a tacit kiss. The insults from onlookers did not decrease but increased. Lu Xian looked more aggrieved and helpless than me. His eyes were red when he looked at me. Not again. Lu Xian has no other means than to fight feelings. I lowered my eyes and just wanted to get away from him. But he couldn't shake off his hand. His system suddenly shouted a warning. Li Pei Xinglin is approaching here. Please pay attention to the personality of the host. Don't make any more bad moves. Lu Xin's expression changed. Immediately afterwards, with a look of hypocrisy. Argue louder for me, don't talk about Jihan. He's not that kind of person. You've all misunderstood him. That's your posture. Anyone who sees it thinks we're great friends. You don't just soak my sisters. And you speak for me. It's incredibly kind. I kept my head down. Sneered. The gaze fell on the red and swollen wrist. Hindsight frowned. The third sister's voice sounded. Not what kind of person outside the crowd. Even if he wears a hat and sunglasses. Can't hide his superior figure. Soon his rabid fans recognized him. Immediately screamed, "Is this the Holy Spirit?" That's it. It seems that he is here to support Lu Xing. After all, his younger brother was deceived by people like Xing Jihan. I still want to be friends with others. Wow, sister is so beautiful. I knew that I would have said a few more words to Lu Xian. Maybe. He can also help me get my sister's autographed photo. There was a noise in my ears. I am the hero of the event. But I just feel that I am outside of everything. When will this farce end? Didn't Xinglin come to help Lu Xian? Still stunned for what to do. Don't come over and push me down. Scold me. Xinglin frowned. In the eyes of everyone, either surprised or gossipy. Walked straight to where Lu Xian was. Then put the cake in your hand. It was handed to me, who was standing behind Lu Xian. His voice was full of pampering. The third sister has been busy running announcements recently. I don't even have time to see you. Have you been used to living at the school lately? Or go to the house where the third sister is near your school. Go live right. This is the coffee that the third sister bought for you. It's a bit of a rush today. Didn't make it to your favorite. Buy some next time. How are you? The crowd fell silent for a moment. Even Lu Xin's face became more and more ugly. I was aloof. Reluctance to reach for that cup of coffee. What are you crazy about? I know. You want to do it all over again. Let people in the school misunderstand your relationship with me. And then let them bully me, right? The Holy Spirit is the same means. You really don't get tired of it. Avid fans in the student's home. This buff stacks. I'm afraid that I will be poured sulfuric acid like in my previous life. It's all cheap for me. I think of the pain that goes deep into my bones. There is also pervasive peeping. It made me tremble. Sure enough, as long as it has something to do with Lu Xing. Nothing good awaits me. The third sister's face was dark. Angry yelled at what you are talking about. What is so constant that seduces me? Our Xing family has only had one young master from beginning to end. That is Xing Jihan. Lu Xian is just a descendant of our family. How did he become the eldest son of the Xing family? Lu Xin's system broadcast. The third sister's favorability has been adjusted again and again. Lu Xian finally got anxious. He originally thought that it would be based on the degree of pity that the third sister had for him. How could he not be in the Xing family? Say it now. All the people who just scolded me. They all set their eyes on him with malice. His face turned pale. The expression is hideous. said loudly what happened to the people at the moment. Nowadays, I also make money with my own efforts. Unlike those of you who were born with a golden spoon in your mouth. Young master, miss. What you want? It's not just that someone sent it out. But even so, you can't put my dignity under your feet. Indeed, my family is not as good as yours. But I've never been worse than you. He boasted. The output was stunned to everyone present. Even the third sister is rarely full of guilt. When Lu Xian saw that it was good, he put away his face and ran away. Systematic factual reporting. Congratulations to the host. The female supporting Holy Spirit favorability plus 20. It's back to 50. I know that I am the eldest and youngest queen of the Shing family. Everyone's attitude was a little weird. He Jun was even under the post that said I was anonymous. Admitted his mistake. I believe Lu Xin's nonsense. I made this post. There's all the ambiguous evidence in this. It was also provided to me by Lu Xian. I was used as a gun by him. I hope Xing Jihan can be an adult and not remember the villain. Don't hold me accountable. I sincerely apologize to you here. I'm sorry Xing Jihan. For a while, there were more people scolding Lu Xing. He was said to be greedy for vanity. Play hard. Eat like him with a bowl. They have seen a lot of people who put down the bowl and scolded their mothers. Speaking of self-reliance and self-improvement. Even if you are a person at the moment. As a result, they were mentioned for their work. It's not like crying and fussing. If he really doesn't care about the difference in status. Others mistakenly thought that he was the eldest child of the Xing family. Why didn't he explain? It's just a pity that I don't pay much attention to the forums. I only know that the eldest sister made a phone call. The voice was cold and called for me to go home. You don't have to think about it to know that he is going to be angry for Lu Xian. I put it off until twilight. Knocked on the door of the Xing family. Lu Xian sat in the center of the three people crying. This picture. Almost immediately, it reminded me of my past life. What I saw before I died. The final picture. Again. The third sister is the one who seems to be the most entangled. He wanted to come and pick me up. In the end, he stood by Lu Xin's side. Jihan, you've gone too far. I was so overwhelmed that I didn't even know what I did. It's Lu Xian who doesn't explain his identity. Also connived and instigated others to spread rumors, and I was a little white face. I've said a word about him throughout. Didn't you justify yourself? It's also that they are afraid not to think. All of this is my bureau to frame the Willow Heart Society. But no one cared. I've been because of those things in my previous life for a long time. I can't say it. After understanding the posture of these three people to ask for sin, I stopped at the doorway and stood still. Didn't take another half step. This Xing family. There's no place for me a long time ago. The third sister's face changed. It was as if he had finally figured out something. Hurriedly walked over to me. The system that balances your willow heart screams wildly. The alarm woman is accompanied by the Holy Spirit's favor and reinstatement. The alarm actress is supported by St. Joan's favor. The favor of the second sister and the third sister fell in turn. Only the eldest sister gave me a heavy look. Nothing happened. Lu Xian saw this. It's like grasping at some kind of straw. Rushed over and grabbed the eldest sister's hand. Tears flowed. Sister Jinjin. You know. I'm not that kind of person. What I care about in the Xing family has never been money. It's you. You are like my true relatives. I felt the warmth of my family.